Hello, and this is Mr. Red Dragon 543 talking to you guys about my health updates. As you can see on the desk, those are the medical supplies, even including the box and the box underneath there, and a box beside me beside this black cupboard. So, last year, April 24th, 2021, I had gallstones shoot into my pancreas, which led me to having pancreatitis. So if you don't know, pancreatitis is not just caused by alcoholism, as I'm not an alcoholic, nor will I ever be. And I do want to say this too is sorry. I do want to say that the situation is very difficult to deal with. So it is April 28th, 2022. It's been over a year. I had a cyst grow on my pancreas in June of 2021. As my pancreas was leaking infectious fluids, which is still draining till this day. However, it seems that it hasn't stopped draining since they put the drains in. So, mind you, the timeline is like this: April 24th last year, 2021. I go to the hospital in agony because of my pancreas and my gallbladder. Gallstones shoot out as infections occur in my body. My heart rate rises to 263 to 290, and they had to inject me with not one, but two of these needles to slow down my heart because it was way too high. It got to a point afterwards that the infection was so bad they refused to do any procedures on me, which was not right. They neglected my health for a while. Mind you, it gets way more difficult. They neglected my health and sent me home in May. From May to the end of June, I had a lot of agony, and they gave me medications for it. They gave me was it antibiotics and gravel because I was too sick. I'm like, okay, whatever. I go and I go back to the hospital in June. I get a CT scan. They find out that on my pancreas was a giant cyst, which was caused to the infectious fluids that was leaking from my pancreas. Joy. They still didn't do anything about this till August. Yeah, it was that fucked up. So, from April 24th till almost the end of August, they actually started to do stuff. At first, they put in drains. They had free drains in me at the time, one of which I still have to this day. And for those who do not want to see this, I'm going to say skip ahead till like 10-15 seconds, as it's kind of gross. And for those who don't like seeing blood, I suggest you skip ahead or just click off this video as well. Um, but yeah, so I'm just gonna show you guys now. So there's my bandages. That drain is inside my waist, as you can see. And then if you look over here, that is the drain that is in me to this day. April 28th, 2022. Joy. And I have to say too is I can't believe this. The doctors, the surgeons have no clue what to do. They legit sat me down and said to me, "We're not too sure what to do. Maybe you have ideas. Can you suggest any?" I'm a patient. I'm not qualified at all, under any circumstance, to answer this kind of fucking question. I'm not a health professional. I'm autistic and have trouble understanding a lot of shit. Okay? I have difficulties in reading and writing, so I wouldn't even know where to even begin with all this stuff. I have to have somebody help me read the stuff to me because I struggle in that regards. A lot of their neglect put me in more health risk than anything I've ever experienced, you know? And so this is the update that I am giving to you guys, as I think it's important to kind of share as a historical point for not just myself, but for like other people that are going through this in maybe their healthcare systems as well. Now, I'm not too sure where everyone is from, but in my city, it might be a lot more different than like other people's cities. All I know is in my city, all the hospitals are backed up. A lot of the hospitals are low on staff, which I find very, very unacceptable, that they even had to fire people over stupid things when they could have just said, "Hey, you know, don't say this, just continue your work in this other field instead. We still need the doctors." But instead, a lot of these doctors are getting blacklisted and released, which is pretty bad. And because of this whole pandemic, it's caused a lot more deaths due to neglection than a virus. There's been many people who've missed their surgeries and their treatments, as well as getting medications that they're severely allergic to, because doctors are skipping notes. They are not reading things properly because they're in a rush to get to a next patient because they are so fucking low staff. This pisses me off. This shouldn't have happened whatsoever. This has been from my experiences and stuff I've witnessed. Even nurses tell me that this is happening. There are nurses that say, yeah, there's a lot of neglect going on. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do because we're still trying to focus on the people in front of us right now. And because of the number of people going into the hospital, it's bad. Yesterday, April 27th, 2022, I go in because I was leaking blood from not just my drain, but also my wound. I leaked over, I want to say 2 liters almost of blood, maybe more. I don't think that it was too bad, but it was still a concern. I leaked over a lot of blood, okay? As I got to the hospital, there were still 14 ambulances that were on hold because they were still dealing with picking up people. It was so bad that a lot of hospitals are so full that the emergency doors have patients at them in my city. And when I say emergency patients, I'm not talking about the ones with a virus. I'm talking about patients that are in car crashes, people who have allergic reactions to something that are on the risk of dying, or something more severe, you know? Like, these are legitimately emergency cases. And a lot of them are being denied their health care because we're too busy. We can't do this right now because that area is restricted to us. Who the fuck in the right mind looks at a hospital during, especially during a pandemic, and says, oh, this area's off limits because of this virus? You'd think that in a hospital, that would be their number one priority, is to try to get everyone finished and done with quickly so people can go home without issue and without this risk. Yeah, my hospital sucks. And it's probably not just mine. There are people with pacemakers. If people don't know what a pacemaker is, it's pretty much a battery that it goes into your heart for people with heart failure sometimes. And it pretty much acts as your lungs. Sometimes it acts as, something to help you breathe. There are people who need a new pacemaker because the batteries are dying. And the doctors and surgeons just look at them and be like, we can't do anything right now. Come back later. You fucking monkeys. You fucking... Oh, God. I just hate this system. This is so bad, The neglect is bad. That's all I gotta say. And you know what? It's so bad because fucking it's frustrating. Especially if you're a person who is either single, in poverty, or has no one to really vouch for you. You're going to wind up suffering more. This is a serious video. And I just want to say, these are the events that are happening now, as of April 28th, 2022. In the future, if you're watching this video, you can mark this as a historical reminder of what's happening, as people are neglected and a lot of the doctors are not releasing that information because they don't want them to get either exposed or their fear of losing other members right now because there is so low staff. This is the reality of what's happening in our hospital. If you have any stories that you would like to share, comment them in the comment. Very, very good, yes. Yes. Uh, but yeah, if you have any stories to share of maybe something that's happened to you or a family member or a family member's friend, then do share. And until next time, I do hope everyone a great life and take care of yourselves, you know. And if you do have any anxieties of the hospital, you're not alone. Okay? The the fear of hospitals is becoming more potent as a lot of them are struggling to keep up with actually doing what is necessarily right. With the neglect that I've experienced and the fact that, like, in the one time when I was there for 45 days straight, there's 24 rooms. Each room carries up to 4 people. A lot of these people were missing their medications. They were missing a lot of their procedures because of mishandling of files and papers. There were some patients that would often get neglected for their food. I was one of them, by the way. They put me on MPO for almost 3 days straight on a holiday. And because it was a holiday, they looked at me and said, "Oh, well, your surgeon didn't say anything to us, so you're still on MPO." So they pretty much neglected my right to have food or drink, including water. That's my experience. Not only did they neglect my health, they neglected others. They've also messed up charts, not reading them properly, almost killing people because they're giving them medications that they're severely allergic to, and so much more. This is a grim reminder of what's happening with this pandemic. I hope you guys do understand where I'm coming from, and I hope you guys are able to speak forward about your situations as well. Until then, you guys have a good night, and bye.